philosophers say that simply by cultivation of knowledge by mental speculation, one can be liberated from the condition of material bondage. But here it is said that one is liberated not by knowledge, but by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The knowledge the conditioned soul gains by mental speculation, however powerful it may be, is always too imperfect to approach the absolute truth. It is said that without the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot understand Him or His actual form, quality, and name. Those who are not in devotional service go on speculating for many thousands of years, but they are still unable to understand the nature of the absolute truth. One can be liberated in the knowledge of the absolute truth simply by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clearly said herein that our memory is lost because we are now covered by His material energy. Arguments may be put forward as to why we have been put under the influence of the material energy by the supreme will of the Lord. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says, I am sitting in everyone's heart, and due to me one is forgetful or one is alive in knowledge. The forgetfulness of the conditioned soul is also due to the direction of the Supreme Lord. A living entity misuses his little independence when he wants to lord it over material nature. This misuse of independence, which is called Maya, is always available, otherwise there would be no independence. Independence implies that one can use it properly or improperly. It is not static, it is dynamic. Therefore, misuse of independence is the cause of being influenced by Maya. Maya is so strong that the Lord says that it is very difficult to surmount her influence. But one can do so very easily if he surrenders unto me. Mameva ye prapadyante. Anyone who surrenders unto him can overcome the influence of the stringent laws of material nature. It is clearly said here that a living entity is put under the influence of Maya by his will, and if anyone wants to get out of this entanglement, this can be made possible simply by His mercy. The activities of the conditioned souls under the influence of material nature are explained here. Every conditioned soul is engaged in different types of work under the influence of material nature. We can see in the material world that the conditioned soul acts so powerfully that he is playing wonderfully in creating the so-called advancement of material civilization for sense gratification. But actually his position is to know that he is the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. When he is actually in perfect knowledge, he knows that the Lord is the supreme worshipful object, and that the living entity is his eternal servant. Without this knowledge, he engages in material activities. That is called ignorance. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So once again, the cause for this material existence is said to be the lost memory, nashta smritihi. Forgetting that we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is a person, we are persons. So part and parcel of a person means servant. Servant of the whole Supreme Person. So forgetfulness of that is the cause of being in this material world. The conditioned life is due to his forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because of that, only if the Lord decides, shows mercy, then only we can engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, Prabhupada is answering the most common question in Krishna consciousness. Why did the Lord put us under the influence of this material energy? As part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, there is a certain degree of absoluteness to our nature also. Part and parcel means that Krishna is also us. Krishna is more than us, but Krishna is also us. Krishna is also material energy. Krishna is also all jivas. There cannot be a second existence other than Krishna. Vasudevam sarvamiti samhatma sudurlabha. Everything is Vasudeva. But everything is Vasudeva as Vasudeva, the personality, and his energies. His energies are also his only. Him, because his and him, because everything comes from him. There cannot be a second substance in existence other than God. So, the living entity being part and parcel of the Supreme Person being absolute, we are also absolute. We have an absolute status. Our quality is also one with the Supreme Lord. That is the actual Swarupa of the living entity. That is why it said the soul within every body is divine. Means it's transcendental. It is Amsha of the Lord. When such a great position, eternal possession that the living entity possesses, when that is a real situation, just imagine ourselves to be thinking that we are this body. What a fall down it is. So that is why we have fallen living entities. Fallen means we have fallen into the bodily concept of life. We have fallen into a mistaken identity of being this matter. But actually we are divine. And all the personal qualities, personhood qualities that we see, that we experience now through this body, is actually the personhood qualities of the soul. And the body itself is dead matter. So we have to shift all our faculties that we observe in ourselves, thinking, feeling, willing, desiring, identifying, all these things. We have to take it away from the quality of this body and understand that those are the spiritual qualities of the spirit, of the soul, of mind. So I am actually spirit. My desiring is spiritual. My desiring means it's originating from spirit, but trapped in this material body, starting with identification with this material body. First we identify, and then everything, all the faculties of ours becomes that of this robot. And we are simply puppets in the hands of this bodily robot. And this bodily robot is simply working according to laws of nature, laws of karma. What decisions we make, the free will, even in this body now in the conditioned state, the free will is that of the spirit. Just like the thinker is still the spirit in this body, even in the conditioned state. Feeler, thinker, feeler, willer is the spirit. Desirer is the spirit. Identifier is the spirit. But identifier is mistaking with the identified. Instead of identifying oneself as in a relationship, he thinks it is him. There is nothing wrong if we identify with this body, that okay, this is my body, in which I am not this body, but this is my body, or this is a vehicle, or this is a special suit. Just like when you go to moon, they put a different suit to sustain in that atmosphere. Similarly, this is a suit given to us in this material energy. And that suit is worn by whom? The spirit soul. So we have all landed from spiritual world to this material world in a special suit. So if you understand that relationship with this body, then no problem. You're no problem in having the body. But then it so happens this suit is so much, it is so comprehensive and does everything. That the original body does. We tend to think that this is me. And why we think this is me, or why we are made to think, why we are made to fall into this illusion? Because the spirit, soul, even before falling into this identification, he has misused his free will. He has misused his like and dislike potency. I like to be independent. So suddenly we took a liking to be independent. Independent means independent rasa. We are all about rasa. Living entity means looking for independence is a kind of a rasa. Dependence on the Lord is another kind of rasa. So you give up that the rasa of dependence on the Lord, and then you want to experience the independent rasa, where the Lord is not in the picture. You are on your own and through your free will, and the Lord gives that illusion. Yeah, you do and you can earn. So the living entity works very hard in this material world, does tapasya, does his karma and all those things. He comes into the material world, then he learns material knowledge. When he is born into this material world, born into a material body, it is taught to him. Now, of course, nobody is teaching, but in a way, a proper Vedic society, which was other yugas than Kali Yuga, every living entity is taught the skill and the technique, how to perform good karma and how to earn good punya, how to go to heavenly planets, increase happiness and all these things. This is a larger scheme of the material world. What we are seeing in earth, life on this earth, is one part of the reality. But the larger part of the, even relative reality, larger part of the material existence itself, this world itself, there are demigods, there are demigod planets, there are lower planets, different levels of enjoyments are there. So different degrees of forgetfulness is there of the living entity. So the Lord has facilitated this opportunity for the living entity to freely either choose him or choose independent rasa. Independent happiness, independent pleasure, independent power, independent pleasure, independent love, independent knowledge. But the tendency can never be stopped. The tendency for knowledge cannot be stopped. That is why you see so many universities. That cannot be stopped. Tendency for power cannot be stopped. You always see in the material world, one of the most prominent element, prominent rasa of everyone is a lauding rasa. It's a power. Power is a reality in this material world. Power, knowledge, love. Whole world is a network of people attempting to give love and take love, but all misfired. Pleasure, sense pleasures. So our propensity for these four things, our propensity for Sat, Chit and Ananda cannot be stopped. That is our nature. So we are rasa beings. So as rasa beings, we have to be responsible after hearing this Bhagavatam. One comes to understand after hearing from a spiritual master that I have a choice to have a different type of rasa than the rasa, material rasa that I have been experiencing all along. And the highest of all the rasa is relationship rasa. Loving relationship. The loving relationship with the Lord means interpersonal relationship. The living entity and the Lord. That interpersonal relationship rasa, if that is developed, that is actually the highest taste of the living entity. Not the lower tastes. Highest taste is that of one's integrity of relationship with the Supreme Lord, where the Lord can trust you. If somebody breaks the trust, then you say, this is not a reliable relationship. There is no integrity in his relationship. Integrity of relationship, integrity of pleasure. I won't go anywhere for pleasure. Just like a chaste wife will say, I don't go anywhere for pleasure. Chaste wife. In the same way, we are all amshas of Krishna, we are all Prakriti. What is the spirit behind no sense gratification? I don't want to independently seek enjoyment other than the Lord's prasadam. The Lord gives me prasadam, that is my constitutional enjoyment. Otherwise, that is for me. Otherwise, my real enjoyment is giving pleasure to the Lord, whether I get pleasure or not. That is a real pleasure. Whether my body, mind, spiritual body, spiritual mind gets pleasure or not, my true self or my identity simply wants to serve the Lord. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you embrace me or trample me, you are my Lord. That means it's an existential relationship. We live for integrity, we live a life where we maintain integrity of absolute relationship with the Lord. That is a free will that we have. Either live with the Lord. That is also the reason why we are all social beings. Every living entity being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and He having unlimited parts and parcels. Constitutionally, we are all social beings. We cannot be alone. We have to be with somebody. We have to relate with other people. We have to. That is part of our Prakriti. That's not part of our Swarupa to be in relationship with other living entities also. So either we can be in the spiritual society or spiritual world, or we can be in the material society, material world. World means world of people. So either we can be ourselves identify as this material body and see everybody as else material body, and it's a whole existence of being in bodily concept and interrelationship between bodily concept. Completely forgetful of God. See how in this material world nobody stops you. You can have a life, nobody will disturb you except at a macro level, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. That requires a devotee's consciousness to identify that. Otherwise, illusion will cover them also. They don't care about birth, death, all those things. For devotee, death is a big realization, very big realization. So as far as the others are concerned, they can be completely in ignorance, and they will not realize that they are in ignorance. That remembrance, forgetfulness is a facility given by the Lord so that your propensity is fulfilled. You can go ahead satisfying your independent rasa, but you can do that only in an identified form because you are not that. Your unconstitution, even though you got the freedom to do it, it is not constitutional for you to have independent life. It is not possible for the living entity to enjoy independent rasa in a spiritual body. Therefore, you have to shut down your spiritual body, you have to shut down your spiritual senses. And Maya Devi turns on this material senses, material body, material bodily concept, material world, and entire life runs like that. Life after life after life, it goes on. And here it is said that unless the living entity is by the mercy of the Lord, unless one receives the mercy of the Lord, he will not remember, he will not awaken, he will not, that remembrance of the Lord will not be awakened. What we say remembrance means, what remembrance means? Existential remembrance. Not simply like some remembering some experience. No. Suppose someone, tells you, something that you have forgotten. Let's say you left your car somewhere. Then you have forgotten where you left it. Slowly after some time you forget you had a car at all there. Someone comes and tells you, look, your car is lying there. Then you will say, which car? Because he has forgotten he had a car also. But the reality is that he has a car. He had a car. The fact was that he had a car. Now he is forgotten. So he takes him, shows him, then slowly he remembers, shows him his RC book. Then everything he remembers. What does he remember? He remembers existentially all that he did with his car is my car. See? So remembrance means remembering the facts, remembering the truth. So just like now, simply by deciding, okay, we were all part and parcel of Krishna, I am servant of Krishna, does the remembrance come? That remembrance is not what is being talked about. That is, you are able to hear now. But how will that come with all its force that it is a fact, that I am that? Krishna is my Lord. How I forgotten him? So that kind of deep remembrance, only the Lord can switch on in our heart. Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. That is called realization. So if you want realization that I am servant of Krishna, we can act. We have to act as a servant of Krishna, no doubt. But if you want, ultimately, only by repeatedly acting as a servant of Krishna, under the direction of the spiritual master, and finally the switch is put on by the Lord in the heart, then only that relationship will be awakened. If you don't cherish that relationship, if you are not happy about that relationship, why should the Lord put that switch on? Isn't it? Suppose you are my son and you have gone away and you are not happy about being at home. Will I be happy about dragging you back home? Rather, I'll make some arrangement. Okay, you go behind, you tell you, because you are rich, you are the father. They go behind whatever he desires, go on buy. Don't say I have given. You give him food, you give him everything and everything. Don't say I have given, because if I have given, he'll say, like you tell anybody now that Krishna is providing everything in this material world, so many people will say, which Krishna is providing? Where is your Krishna? Who is your Krishna? Huh? Who is your God? They will say. Exactly. It's like, then what do you say? What do you tell of that person? You are forgotten. You are talking nonsense. God has, your Supreme Father, your Father is there and He is the one who is providing everything to you. So anyway, if the living entity does not like being in relationship with God, he likes being in an independent world. There is no point in Krishna coming and revealing, awakening your remembrance. Only those who like, therefore, we practice devotional service, where all our anarthas of liking other things, which are not required for the soul, that's called anartha, liking so many things that we are not required for the soul. Just see how powerful our liking potency is. If we can use our free will properly to paste our liking from the depth of our heart onto liking the Lord, liking the association of the Lord, liking the service of the Lord, then that is a starting point where the Lord in the heart is very pleased with us. And then He'll show the way, because right at the root, you have decided to change. So this is Maya Rasa. I do not want Maya Rasa. I want Krishna Rasa. I don't want to think that I am independent. I want to think that I am always independent, dependent on the Lord. How sweet is that dependent Rasa, and this independent Rasa I don't like. Only by knowledge you will know. Otherwise, independent Rasa is an option, a clear option. Normally in the material world, only when one is defeated completely in his pursuit of power, so many desires, so many things he has got, and nothing is happening. He gets so frustrated. Then he thinks of, that is Maya's job, to give us realization that it is not constitutional for you to be independent. Maybe for some time, earn some good karma and enjoy. At that time you forget him. When you come to human form of life, all this thing is shown on screen. See, this is how it is, birth, death going on. Everything is temporary. It comes and it goes, and at the death you leave everything that you earn, all the power you get, and you are put in a fresh situation. When you hear and understand all these things, then slowly you start thinking that this is unconstitutional. I have to go to my constitutional position of Krishna Rasa. And then once one starts developing Krishna Rasa by the mercy of the spiritual master and mercy of the Lord in the heart, then he realizes that how insignificant and how foolish I was in seeking Maya Rasa. How foolish it is. Just like food thrown to the beggars. After a Vaishnava, if a devotee becomes a Vaishnava, he thinks that I was a pleasure beggar in the material world. I was a pleasure beggar. Beggar, what do they do? Anything. And in Italy you get here, grab this pleasure, grab that pleasure, grab that. This is called lust. It's a pleasure beggar. Do you want to be a pleasure beggar or you want to be a dignified pleasure seeker? A Vaishnava becomes dignified pleasure seeker. And he understands what is his dignified pleasure. His dignified pleasure is a pleasure of giving pleasure to Krishna. That is my dignified pleasure. Offering him loving service means offering service for the pleasure of the Lord. I want to please the Lord's mind. I want to give pleasure to the Lord's senses. So entire change, that's why association is very important. Association with the people who like certain things, you will also start liking. Association with people will transfer their likes and dislikes also to you. Unconsciously. You go on mixing with somebody, you relate with somebody, their likes and dislikes will start coming. So being within the association of Vaishnavas, slowly one develops the likes and dislikes. Just like we go on hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures, we read Prabhupada's books. What are we actually? We are associating with the likes and dislikes of Prabhupada. Very easily we vibrate with his likes and dislikes. We'll adopt the spiritual intelligence from spiritual sources like Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. You dislike pleasures which are independent, which are separated pleasures. And you like pleasures which are Krishna Prasadam. Krishna given pleasure is called Krishna Prasadam. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.